Welcome to a special edition of the Darden Admissions Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and we're talking application tips today with my admissions colleague, Whitney Kessner. Whitney, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Brett.
All right, our topic today is standardized tests, and we're also going to talk about test waiver requests. Before we get too deep into the conversation, I want to lay out for our listeners, we're going to talk about the full-time MBA process. We're also going to take some time to talk about executive MBA and part-time MBA because our approach is a little bit different across these respective programs. So let's just start with a sort of high-level question, though. In your opinion, how does a standardized test fit into the application process generally?
Yeah, great question. I'll begin by saying it is one piece among many different elements of the application process that we take into consideration. So oftentimes it can sort of loom larger for many of our candidates, but I think it's important to know that we ask a lot of information. You share a lot of information with us through the application, and we're reading all of that and taking that all into consideration as we get a sense for your abilities, your background, your goals, and how that really comes together as you present your candidacy for admission. So on the full-time side, we do require a graduate standardized test. We offer test flexibility, and what I mean by that is we accept a wide range of graduate standardized tests. We do not have a preference, so we accept the GMAT, the GRE, the executive assessment, the LSAT, and the MCAT. And so you have the option to determine which test you feel best aligns with your abilities and skills, and really will position you as best to put your best foot forward. In addition to those test options that we have, we also offer the option for a standardized test waiver. And so we developed this several years ago, and the waiver is intended to is for candidates who have alternative evidence to show their readiness for a top MBA program. So we have, and we see every year, candidates come from all different backgrounds, some of whom have already earned a master's, potentially in a quantitative area, who have earned certifications that are important in their career, their chosen career, CPA, CFA. The work that a candidate has done may be really highly quantitative. We also know that your undergraduate performance is a strong indicator for how you will perform in the Darden classroom. And so we developed this process, this standardized or this test waiver process for candidates who potentially have that alternative evidence. And so we intentionally have separated it out from the application for the full-time MBA. And so you can apply for a test waiver, be considered, and then determine, what your strategy is. Do you want to apply with that waiver, or do you want to apply with a graduate standardized test score?
And one of the things that resonates with me about what you just shared is, when we're talking standardized tests, we're thinking about academic sort of readiness, or how someone's demonstrating the sort of academic readiness for Darden. There's many different ways to do that. Standardized test is one. There's also undergraduate coursework, graduate coursework if someone's done a graduate degree. There's non-degree related coursework, Coursera, MBA math, professional certifications, the nature of someone's roles and responsibilities. I lay all this out because I think it is ultimately important for candidates to keep in mind, to your earlier point, that a standardized test is just one piece of information, part of a much broader whole. And when we're talking about these things, what we're really trying to get a sense of as an admissions committee is, if we admitted this person to the program, do we feel like they can do the work? Do we feel like they can be academically successful here? Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to make an evidence-based judgment that this person can be successful. And so your challenge as a candidate is make sure you're giving us enough information to be able to make that decision with confidence. So Whitney, I want to talk a little bit more about the standardized test waiver process, because now we have this sort of diagnostic where people can work through and see if they might be able to qualify for a waiver. Just get an initial pulse on that. Anything else you would want to highlight about the test waiver that's important for people to keep in mind?
Yes, thank you for that question, because I think it is important to know that as you're putting together your application, that's going to be what we review for admission. And then if you are offered admission to Darden, your application package is going to move forward for scholarship review. And so with at Darden, we have the majority of our awards are merit-based, and we do have some awards that are need-based through Access Darden. But for those merit awards, we really are looking at the merits of your application, looking at your academic profile, so your undergraduate, any post-bac GPA performance there, standardized tests. We're also looking at your professional experiences and, your trajectory there, your accomplishments, and showing us that progression. We're also looking at your ability to make an impact within our community. And so thinking through, as a considering a test waiver, that is one data point. Again, want to always reiterate, one of many, but that would be something that would not be a part of your application package that would be reviewed for admission, as well as for scholarship review. We do offer admission to candidates who have a test waiver, and we offer scholarship to candidates who have a test waiver. And so really this is where you know you best in your profile and thinking about, okay, all the different pieces, how am I putting my strongest package forward? The other thing I would mention as it relates to test waiver is that some employers, and this varies, we've kind of see this vary a little bit over the years, but some will still asked to see a test score through the recruiting process. And so thinking about if that's something, as you think ahead to the industries, the companies you might be recruiting for, that might be something to consider as well. So we've got a lot of things listed out on the FAQs on our website, and I really encourage people to read through that to just, as best you can, sort of think objectively about your overall candidacy and really what makes the most sense for you.
Yeah, it's not often that we get to talk about strategy with applicants, but I do think there's a strategic consideration here, right? You want to think about the admissions process, certainly, but you also want to think about the scholarship process, the criteria the scholarship committee will be looking at. How important is a scholarship award in your decision-making process? Do you want to make sure that you're giving the scholarship committee as much information to consider? And also, by extension, the admissions committee as well. These are all important questions. Different applicants may answer these questions differently, but I think this is part of the consideration set. As you note, I want to take just a minute to talk about executive MBA and part-time MBA. Our approach to standardized tests is the same for both of these programs. These are our professional degree programs. Students are working while pursuing their degree, and both located in the Washington, D.C. metro area. We are test optional for both of these programs, meaning candidates who are applying to either executive MBA or part-time MBA have the choice of applying with a test score, but a test score is not required. To Whitney's point, we are test flexible, meaning we accept a number of standardized tests, all the ones that she mentioned, as well as older or expired test scores for any of those tests. If you're planning to apply with an older or expired test score, we would ask that you have documentation of your score because you won't be able to get it from the testing service. So keep that in mind if you're considering that as a path. If you're wondering about which of these options may make sense, applying with a test or just applying on the basis of your existing background, I do always encourage candidates to go back to that audit that I referenced earlier, sort of thinking about your coursework, your degree-related coursework, non-degree-related coursework, professional certifications, nature of your roles and responsibilities. Is that a robust data set? Do you feel like you have a lot there, or do you feel like you would benefit from having another data point, something else for our admissions committee and even potentially our scholarship committee to consider? Again, that's kind of the strategy of it all. And different candidates will answer that question differently, but it's something worth spending a little bit of time on. So Whitney, thank you as always for sharing your insights.
Thank you, Brett.